Donald Trump hosted a Black History Month event at the White House that was meant to highlight his many policy achievements for the Black community. The problem is, you need to have policy achievements for the Black community in order to highlight them. We know for a fact he has not done that at all since returning to office. The 10% of additional Black voters he got in 2024 versus past elections have quickly turned on him. We've watched his, economic promises to them collapse amidst his economic policy, like the Medicaid cuts and the SNAP cuts and the public education cuts that disproportionately affect Black voters. And then we've watched all of the culture war BS he's rolled out over the past year as well. Obviously, we know about the extremely racist video he posted last week of the Obamas as apes. We've watched him pull MLK Day and Juneteenth off of the calendar as free national park and museum days and replace it with his own birthday. So this event, as much as he's trying to trot people out and trot accomplishments out, there wasn't much for him to talk about here except for, big lofty things that didn't really make sense and trot out the very few Black people that are actually in the Trump administration. And at the end of the day, too, is just him showing his cognitive decline in a number of ways. And so I want to kick off with that first, where, he tries to trot out Herschel Walker and talk about him. And let's see if he can even remember what Herschel Walker does in the administration.
Mike Tyson goes that he's not a racist. He's my friend. He's been there from the beginning, good times and bad. But Mike Tyson's a great guy, and he was so loyal, always been loyal. And Herschel Walker, speaking about loyal, how good a football player was Herschel? Herschel Walker, now he's ambassador to the Bahamas. I don't know, Bahamas, Bermuda, is he Bahamas, whatever. It's nice, a nice place. You'd like that, Bruce, wouldn't you? Bruce wants it. And a guy that became really, he liked Trump, Jim Brown.
First of all, you are trotting out one of the few Black people in your administration, and you can't even remember what they do. And honestly, I think that the whatever and the I don't care is sort of Donald Trump's approach to helping Black voters and helping the community. It's this kind of BS facade that he tries to bring up top of well, I've got Herschel Walker here, and he was a great football player, and Mike Tyson's a friend of mine. Let's not forget Mike Tyson has been incredibly convicted of sexual assault and spent time in prison, and the fact that Herschel Walker was also credibly accused of domestic violence. Like, these are not people he should be trotting out as stars of the administration. But he couldn't help himself. He's got a new celebrity that he gets to highlight right now, and it's Nicki Minaj. And so couldn't help him. Nicki Minaj was actually at the crypto summit that Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump were hosting. So she's got her busy schedule in MAGA world now because she couldn't really fill her schedule otherwise before that. Let's see what he said about Nicki Minaj at the event.
Nicki Minaj. Do we love Nicki Minaj? Right? I love Nicki Minaj. She was here a couple of weeks ago. She's so beautiful. Her skin's so beautiful. I said, Nicki is so beautiful. Her nails are like that long. I said, Nicki, are they real? She said, she didn't want to get into that. But she was so beautiful and so great. And she gets it, more importantly, frankly, she gets it. But
somebody needs to tell these people at this point that Nicki Minaj is not cultural relevance. She is a celebrity looking for relevance right now, and she found it in MAGA world. I've talked about this before. MAGA loves to scoop up fallen stars, slap a flag on them, and then call their career decline, anti-woke cultural dominance. And that's just not what it is. It is, Nicki Minaj was going one direction, and they're trying to pull her up now by giving her a new lane. And I think what's interesting here is the far right and people in MAGA world love to talk about the fact that they don't care about celebrities, and they don't care about, Hollywood culture and entertainment culture, and they frown at it, and they call it corrupt and woke and all that stuff. It is so funny that the minute anyone who isn't a Z-list celebrity gives them some, notice, they freak out. It just shows how much they're projecting when they call out entertainment culture and Hollywood culture. There is nothing more they want than those people to come onto their side. But guess what? They only get stragglers because sanity exists on the other side. And it seems like when people lose theirs, a la Kanye and Nicki, they come to this side. And I don't think we can say that Kid Rock Kid Rock was ever particularly sane. So it makes sense that he exists only in MAGA world. And look, that is what Nicki's doing here. She wants in on the grift. We can see it. That's why she's at that's why she was at the crypto summit yesterday. That is why she is posting these, AI slop photos on Twitter of, Donald Trump and her counting money in a nice car. Like, it is, she wants in on the grift. And for all we know, she'll probably get something from it as well, but or get some of it as well. But it's so transparent. And something else that's a little bit of a pivot from that is just how, back to Donald Trump not looking good, not sounding good yesterday. Take a look at his hand yesterday. It has never been more discolored and caked with makeup. And what is so crazy to me about this is that if his hand wasn't that serious, they just wouldn't cover it up. The fact that it looks that bad and they are willing to show us a hand that looks like that, it means what is underneath that hand is so much worse. And what bothers me about this is this only seems to float around like internet circles of people. The news doesn't really cover it at all. And for a news apparatus that claims that they were so interested in Joe Biden's cognitive decline and physical decline, they don't seem that invested in Trump's cognitive or physical decline. Like, that man is not hiding good health under a hand caked in makeup, and it needs to be talked about more. And the problem is with his cognitive and his health decline, he's still saying incredibly dangerous things leading up to the midterms, per usual, like he did at this event, where he is increasingly started to ramp up this rhetoric about deploying ICE to swing cities where there are major elections coming up in the midterms. Let's take a look at where he wants to send ICE agents to next.
Need a little help. You need help in Atlanta. He just said, you're right. Atlanta, we could take care of Atlanta. I'll tell you what, you ought to get them to call me. We could take care of Atlanta so fast. They don't want to call. They don't want to call because they don't want to admit it, and they'll never fix it themselves. Don't forget, we move people out. We don't just go in and, be tough guys. We move people out. We take career criminals and we get them out. We bring them back to the country from where they came.
It is so clear to see where this is headed at this point. And I've talked about this multiple times over the past couple of weeks because I want people to keep track of what is taking shape, which is you had people on the fringes, far right, throwing out this idea of deploying ICE to polling places and places where there are important elections for the midterms. People freaked out about it. They were called overreactors, and the White House was saying things like, "Oh, well, we haven't talked about that. You're freaking out about stuff that fringe people are talking about. Steve Bannon isn't even a part of the administration." And then you watch Donald Trump in his interview with NBC start to throw out, well, you've got Detroit and you've got Atlanta, and those places need help. Well, guess what those two states have for the midterms? Very big Senate races. And then now you've got him openly calling for ICE deployment to those places. You've got people, Republicans on Capitol Hill saying, why would it be so bad if ICE was at polling places? Like they are so transparently getting people ready for this scenario at this point. And people need to be getting loud about it. And just as a follow-up on that, Donald Trump used maybe the most inartful choice of words he possibly could in this current moment of time to describe a deployment to some of those cities. Let's take a look.
Thousands and thousands of lives in many cities. And frankly, if these radical left lunatic Democrats would come and say, please help us, please, we'd stop crimes all over the place. And we're doing it in a lot of cities. Sometimes we have to force ourselves upon them because they're so bad. And I don't even think they realize what's happening to their cities and their towns.
I don't know if the wording of forcing ourselves upon them is exactly what Donald Trump should be saying at this moment in time, but call me crazy. And that is the thing. That is what they want to do. They do want to force themselves upon their city. That on various cities. That is how these people operate, just with impunity. They don't care about the consequences or the accountability whatsoever. And it's coming from the top. And what this whole event lacked was any meaningful substance whatsoever about what he's actually done to improve the lives of Black Americans. Nothing about improved wages, nothing about lower housing costs, nothing about the expansion of healthcare or the higher quality healthcare or lower cost healthcare for people. It was about gloss veneer bullshit celebrities and just to make him feel good and like I said, to make people who are only glancing think, oh, okay, things might be okay, without actually giving the substance of what he's done to help people. That's it for me today. If you liked what you saw in this video, throw a like on it. Follow the Demwins Media YouTube channel. Follow me at buildingthebench.substack.com, and we will keep bringing you the news as you need to see it. Thanks for watching.